important to talk about, though, and that is, so many people get so down. I listen on Facebook every day. I watch these people, and they don't want to live anymore. They're so down. They're so depressed. They've given up. They're in despair. And to those people, I would say, I did not find my life until I was past 65 years old. I didn't have a life of my own. I was my husband's cheerleader. I was my children's cheerleader. I was the cheerleader for all their friends. But there was no me. I was mom. I was wife. I was everything to everybody. So many of us are like that. At 65, on a lark, I decided to write a book. It's just a joke, a parody on old westerns. It was so simple. And from that point, my life changed. And here I am with Miranda, I'm with DeVonna, I'm with Andrew, and I never thought, I'm a simple Hoosier housewife. How did I get here? But if I had at any point given up and just stopped, like so many people want to just say, I don't want to go on anymore, I would never have had this experience. Patience with yourself is so healing. And you just don't know what's ahead. Never ever give up, because you don't know. This is the beauty of life. It's just so beautiful, because you don't know. It's a surprise. There'll be a lot of bad ones, but you never know when that big one, that beautiful one, is going to hit. And for me, it wasn't until now. I'm 70 years old, and I'm living a life I never thought I could dream of. So you've got to hang in there. No matter what you do, you hang in there long enough, it'll be okay.
Yeah, you found a way to quiet your noise, to get that monkey to get off the coke. You found a way to do that. And hey, you became an author out of it. You became a writer. You unleashed an inner side of you didn't think probably existed. You always had the creativity, but maybe not sure how to channel it. You never know what you're going to unlock. I mean, this is so insightful just to hear everybody's stories, and we share little bits of ourselves, because you don't know. Someone might have a similar situation, and ways to do, without judgment, not being afraid to express yourself, and don't think, because like I said, when you say, oh, walk a mile, in my head, I think, Kristin, we were talking the other day, and I said, okay, you can walk around in my head, but don't knock anything loose, because I have it's kind of an organized chaos in there, because I've got, can't go into the subject, but, when you're writing stuff, finding the light in the darkness, that's the motto for Nortainment, You surround yourself with positivity. You learn how to channel it. It's okay to be down in the dumps. I rarely get depressed, but we all get a moment where we don't feel our best, and it's okay. It's okay. But don't wallow, and there's a lot of people, like during the pandemic and the lockdown, and it's been crazier here in California, and especially LA, that for more than for others. Like if you're in Texas or Florida, they were just like opening up immediately without caution, so I'm like, one thing that worried me was, when it came to the holidays, and the governor of California, like, okay, they stopped outdoor dining. We went back into like a semi-lockdown where there was no outdoor dining, there was nothing, and I'm thinking, okay, the holidays tend to be a time when people get depressed, and where I was worried was the part where, there's people who do get depressed, people who are bipolar, people who might not. Sometimes people say, well, they know they could call me. How often do people not call? If you have a loved one that died, I learned this a long time ago as a kid when someone said, us if you need anything. Do they call? No. Just go. Don't tell someone that. Just say, we love you. I'm here for you. And then, you know what? When you get home, if you want to go and, whip up something or go buy a dessert or bring them a piece of pie or just go sit and have a cup of coffee and said, hey, I came over. I know you didn't ask me to, but I just had that feeling. That's practicing empathy, because that person's going through and you don't know if they lost a spouse or a loved one or whatever. Sometimes these people who, especially living in Los Angeles, people who might not be married or have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever, or friends or roommates, where they're not surrounded by people, they live alone, they're out here making their dream happen, and then they're like, sometimes just going to a restaurant, just talking to the waiter, even if it's sitting outdoors because of the pandemic, that makes a difference. Sometimes they'll just have a conversation, and then you take that away because it's safety and health, but I'm like, couldn't we have found a way? Because how many suicides might have happened? We don't hear about that, and maybe the news was hiding it because the news needs to quiet their noise, because there's the media stirring hate, and and it's just crazy, and you can blame it on politics. Yes, maybe that contributes, but that all being aside, there's just so many things that we have to care about, and just meditate. So that leads me to Andrew. Let's you touch a little bit on that. We've got one more topic before we kind of wrap up this call. This on air. It's not really a call because we are on the air. Because I'm actually seeing we've got quite a few listeners on some of the stats. Let's just Andrew. You talk a little bit about your perspective on this section of the conversation.
Well, again, it's funny because, like I said, there's so much tension going on in the world. And yes, we could be quick to judge, so-and-so this or that, whatever it may be. But I guess, just looking and just kind of observing instead of just trying to throw your 2 cents in as far as comments and stuff like that. Just wait till everything comes out, and then maybe you'll be able to get what's going on. As far, that's on that perspective, of limiting yourself with the news. Get whatever information you need, then get out. And then for the healing process, like I said, you can do so many things. You keep yourself moving. Like I said, whatever gives you that therapy, whatever gives you that healing. Sometimes, believe it or not, like what I've done is I've went and bought food just at random, not trying to brag or anything, but for the homeless people. And it's just, I just say, hey, it's between me, you, and God, whatever that does to make you kind of heal. Sometimes you giving is what makes you heal. Being able to be more sympathetic, being able to step in that person's shoes, what they may be going through. So, a person that might be very salty, they may be going through something very rough. So who knows? What we're just thinking they're just being a jerk. Many things, like with painting, for me, I enjoy it. Like I said, you just get gloves. You don't have to make an image. You can just play with the paint, and something will come out. And I think that's why children's art is so beautiful, because it's so innocent. It comes from the minds of, innocent. It's so real. And so I think we're on this journey, and we continue to try to look for ways to improve ourselves, to make ourselves happy, to make us at peace with ourselves. Sometimes the past, we all have past that are not good, but we try to do it in one form or another. I'm also dabbling in writing myself. I've worked on now chapter 2 of a potential book, just to see what go of it. It's based on my life, but changing the characters a bit.
Yeah. You're just going to take creative license in your own life, to protect the innocent and the not so innocent. But I always say that because it's like, I really could. They always joke around when you're a writer. They're like, "You sure you want to marry or date a writer? Because you might end up in a story." Don't worry, I'll change the names. Although I should expose you for what you did. You traumatized me. And you say, but by the way, you can always tell that person, that character over there? I'd go, oh, the crazy one? Yeah, that's you. But no one else is going to know that but us. But that's you. That character, you inspired that character. That person might look at you and you're like, yeah, that's what happens. But hey, it's... Huh? Did someone say something? Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's just so many different things, that you do to get better and little things. So I want to touch just a little bit on this part. This will probably be our last kind of round, and then we're going to do just a final wrap-up conclusion after this. So this will be our second to the last, and then we'll kind of wrap. We got about about 10 or 20 minutes here. So this is for those, just to kind of end the part on someone in a bad situation. And like I said, as I mentioned, as a disclosure, in this session of Inspired Change, it's just regular people offering help and well-being. Gunter is our psychologist, but you know what? There's all things that we can do, and there's some people that really do, they need to see help. They need to have someone to talk to that's a professional, but there's always people that won't do it. Even with interventions, or some people, they just won't. They'll ignore you. They'll bash you, and you're like, I did everything I could. But, and you hope, well, maybe one day they will. But that's one way, too. But then there's also, my thing is just trying to be there for people. Be observant. Be mindful of your surroundings. If if you see something or you have a feeling that something's wrong, look at the signs. We had some guests the other day. It was some filmmakers that did it won a bunch of festival awards called Strawberry Cake. And it was about, they filmed it during the pandemic, and it was all on Zoom. And they had this, strawberry cake was a code word for one of the person she was going through domestic violence. Showed her, like, under her bed, she would pack, it starts out where the husband was, like, mentally abusive. And I don't even know if he was hitting her too, but it was like, later, she's like, I need that strawberry cake recipe. And then the friend goes, well, I don't bake. And then the other friend goes, I've got a recipe. And they go, no, I really want the strawberry cake was a code word. And she put a note out there, if I ever say that, that's a code word. Sometimes that's what people use. It doesn't have to be strawberry cake. It could be just something simple. You might know that person isn't a gardener, but they're like, can you tell me what you do to care for the roses? Care for the roses could be a phrase. Anything, Find something that could be a common ground. It might be hard to get, but listen to those signs. And then, like I said, in the film, the girl got it, and she's like, okay, just 1 minute. And she got up to, like, maybe go make a call. Because it was a pandemic, and, people were worried about being locked down into someone in a domestic situation. Whether it's male and female, or, it could be the woman being abusive. Domestic violence is a two-way street, whatever situation. It could be a same-sex situation. It could be a transgender abuse, whatever. It could be child abuse. Look at the signs of people around you. It could be a slight change. Some people are good at hiding it. As humans, you don't want people to see that vulnerable side of you. But one thing as we go around on this last round robin here, talk about some resources. If there's a hotline, a website, something you can go to, offering advice on getting out, and maybe some clues on finding the signs of helping someone that, like I said, they might be positive, but then maybe there's something deeper, and you need, how can we be mindful to help somebody? And, without mentioning names, you can mention an example of maybe how you help somebody. Maybe something yourself, whatever. That's what it is. It's about, that's one way to inspire change, is being